Many YouTube channels where people have pets, and you'll see many YouTube channels where there's people with pets, but they're actually wild animals that they found and they turned them into pets. And I'm going to explain in this video why you don't do this, what are the legal implications of doing this, and what are the moral implications. First of all, if you're in the United States or Canada, there's something in each country that is called the Migratory Bird Act, and that encompasses every bird in North America that is not an invasive species. So when we talk about an invasive species, we talk about sparrows, like brown sparrows, starlings. There's many invasive species that are not protected. And if you found like a starling, you could help it. You could help it, you could turn it into a pet, and legally, there's no problem with it. Now, there's other birds, like there's a lot of crows back here right now. That is not an invasive species, unless it was an African crow, which you're probably not going to see that running around North America or Canada because it's a very expensive bird to have. So if you find a raven or a crow in your alley or in your yard, you can't keep it because it's a protected animal under the Migratory Bird Act. It is not an animal that you can keep, and you certainly don't want to put videos out because it is a protected animal, and legally you cannot own that unless you're a wildlife rehabilitator or you have a special license from the state or the feds. You can't own a crow or a raven. Now, why this comes to mind is because just today I saw these people, I think they're in Canada, and they have some, I'm not going to mention the name of it, but they have a YouTube channel, and they have crows and ravens that they find in their alley, and then they nurse them back to health, and everybody's going, oh, aren't you such a great person for helping the bird that's on the ground? No, they're not good people, and they're breaking the law. They're not only breaking the law, but they're putting videos out on YouTube saying that this is okay. It's not okay. It isn't. There's nothing good about this. So if you find a baby bird, and listen, if you find a baby bird, these people can keep birds alive. But generally speaking, if you find the baby bird, it's going to go home with you and it's going to die. If I find a baby bird, I can keep it alive. But if I find a baby bird that is indigenous to the United States, I'll take it to a wildlife rehabilitator because I legally can't own it. And also, I definitely wouldn't be putting videos out if I was gonna keep it, which I won't. I already have pets. I get my pets from a breeder. Meaning when I'm talking about Sam the Raven, or all my birds are, they're not wild animals. They're not. There's a huge difference. I paid a lot of money for Sam the Raven. I didn't go looking in my alley and find a bird and then start putting out videos on YouTube saying, yeah, these are my pets. This is the story. I found the bird in the alley. They're stupid. They're stupid to begin with because I've seen it, and I know this law, and I'm not the only one that knows that all wild animals are protected. You can't find a wild animal and turn it into a pet. If you see people with raccoons, anything like that, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to be a rehabilitator. They're not going to have a license. They just found the animal and they're turning it into a pet, and they're putting it on YouTube because they get views. And that's what these people are doing. They shouldn't have all these crows, but they do anyway. They do anyway. They're doing the wrong thing, and they're sending this message to the public that this is a good thing to do. If you find a baby bird, you pick it up and you nurse it, you nurse it back to health, whatever you got to do, you get to keep it. And that is not the case. The same is true with baby deer. And spring is coming up, and I want to talk about deer real fast. Baby deer, the mother leaves the baby deer nestled up in grass. They don't abandon the baby deer. They're very good. They're good mothers. They're not going to leave their baby. They just leave it for a short period while they go feed. They can't be with the baby deer all the time. Baby deer don't smell like anything. It's very difficult for coyotes, foxes, dogs to even smell baby deer. They have to be right up on them. I have a GSP, and I've had baby deer that I see them nestled, and Tonka's over here. He can't smell them, and Tonka can smell everything. He's trained to find birds, weed, human scent. The guy has a nose that's incredible. I'm seeing him up. He can't figure out where it's coming from. They don't smell like that. It's a survival thing. So if you find the baby deer, if you walk around the woods and you find a baby deer on the ground, you don't touch it. You get out of that area, because one, if the wind is blowing, the mother deer has a great sense of smell. They're gonna smell you, and they're not gonna come around the baby deer. You do not take it home and bottle feed it. You do not say to yourself, oh, the deer is abandoned, okay? It's totally illegal. You can't do it in the United States. To have a deer, you could have a deer farm, but you need to have a permit. You can't just go like bottle feed it and be putting stuff out on YouTube. Whenever you see these videos where you're seeing the person with the baby deer or the birds, like these people that are like saving the birds, they're not good people. They're doing absolutely what is wrong. If you find a baby deer, leave it alone, okay? If you're finding a baby deer and the mother deer is right beside it and dead, then you take the baby deer to a rehabilitator. You don't bottle feed it. But you're never going to see that. You're never going to see that. But you don't bottle feed it and think that it's going to be a great pet. It's not a pet. It's a deer. And those deer that are habituated to humans, dogs, cats, I always see the people doing the same thing. Here's my dog, and the dog's being cute with the baby deer. They can't be released because you habituated them to animals, humans. There's been studies done that those baby deer that are bottle fed, none of them make it through one winter. None of them. So don't think that these people are doing anything good. They stole the baby deer from the mother. That's what they did. So whenever you see these people on YouTube, just know that they're not doing anything good. And don't be, sucked into this like, oh, these are great people. They're helping animals. Back to the people with the crows. They do this consistently. They have like more than one crow that's North American. They're putting out YouTube videos. They keep doing this. The biggest problem is they're saying that this is all right. There's no difference between that crow and a blue jay or a robin. You can't have these animals. They're protected. They're protected. One real thing that's important is that baby birds come out of the nest and they have feathers, and that's part of their existence, is they live on the ground for a while with the parents coming in, feeding them. They have to live on the ground for a few days. So just because a bird is out of the nest and it looks like it's young, it could fly in a day or two. That's its life. They don't fly out of the nest and just be like, okay, now I'm flying. No, they flutter down to the ground, they hang out on the ground for a couple days, and then they fly up. You can't keep wild animals, and you're not helping birds. If you see baby birds, keep going. A decision, oh, that's way too early. Chances are it's not. And something else that I want to make perfectly clear, there are other animals that will eat the baby animals. So, do you not like a fox? Do you not like the coyotes? Do you not like the skunk, the possum? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, people have a tendency to get wrapped up into this emotion, like, I'm going to save the animal. Well, you could be killing an animal by helping that animal and turning it into a pet. In other words, that could have been a meal. That animal, that baby that's on the ground, could have been a meal for a carnivore. You don't get this, do you? It's just about saving the helpless animal. At the very least, it's going to be food for flies. I know it sounds rough, but that's nature. You are not supposed to be picking up baby birds, and if they're indigenous to this, don't do it. You find a starling, which legally you could find a starling. I've thought about it. Like, if I see baby starlings all the time. If one was super young and it wasn't feathered out, I'd probably turn it into a pet because legally I can. I can't do that with a North American crow or raven. I could do it with a brown sparrow. It's an invasive species. It's not protected. Is this sinking into any of you, or do you all just see this like this thing on YouTube and it's like this emotional thing? Look, they're saving the baby birds. Aren't they great people? That's what I see a lot of people writing shit like this. Like these are good people. These are not good people. I've seen people like, you know, the city's coming to get the baby raccoon, and instead the person's going to take it and starts like bottle feeding the baby raccoon. You don't even know if that raccoons are a rabies vector. It's so irresponsible. It is. It's irresponsible to yourself and to anybody around you to like deal with a raccoon. I'm a bird lover. I love birds, but to see somebody that's just like, screw it. I'm just gonna like, I'm not turning these people in. I'm not. But somebody's probably going to. That's the other thing that I want to say. Something else that should hold you back from doing this. Like, I'm gonna save the animal. Like you have this oxytocin surge. You're gonna save the baby animal that doesn't need saving. If people find out that you have this animal, and like these people are stupid, they put the video out on YouTube. State and federal authorities are going to come take that animal. It's done every year with these baby deer that you people find and think you're going to save and help. They take those deer and they put them down because they can't live in the wild. If you would have found the baby deer and taken it to a rehabilitator that's licensed to work with the wild animal, then it stands a chance. But because you can't keep your shit together, the baby deer is going to be put down. I'm training Tonka to find Chaga. And Tonka can find a lot of things. He can find human scent. He can find birds. He can find weed. He can find anything I teach him, and I'm going to teach him to find Chaga. So we want to go find some today, and then we'll start working with him. I just want him to see me taking it off of a tree one more time. And then we won't need to do this because we'll have Chaga to work with, and he's seen this. We'll sort of get what the ultimate goal is. And then I'll start having him just find chunks of Chaga in a field or around the house. Now it starts getting real steep. I'm not that far away from the car. Maybe a half a mile. I can see the car. This is getting rough. Tonka, let's go, brother. Heel. Now this place in particular, I've seen hen of the woods. It's just loaded with hardwoods, oak, maple. They're not going to pop up for a while, but I'm coming here for sure. This looks like it. It just reeks of hen of the woods. Someone was clearly camping here. Makes sense. Makes sense. Little fire. See, that's real pretty. It is. It's all snow runoff. I'm real high up now. Still, we're not even close to the top. Finally reached the top, the summit. It's like as high as Mount Everest almost, minus 25,000 feet, something like that. But this is high. But what I have noticed is a lot of coyote poop. Tonka's finding it. But it's real beautiful up here. It's real peaceful. See, I would come up here and sleep, but I got animals at home and it would flip me out. I could bring everybody? No, it's not feasible. Bring some. Couldn't leave Remy. I had to bring Remy. It is very pretty up here, though. Very peaceful. Ran into a lot of deer stands on the way up. Ton of deer in here. You hear the coyote. They're absolutely all over this area. You know, you hear them at night. There's a lot. You can't leave small. You don't put your dog in the backyard no matter what size it is, because coyote will tear it up. They're hungry, they're starving. Your dog is a food source. Seriously. A fox, probably don't have too much to worry about. A coyote, kill Tonka, you know. Not now. I mean, they try and sneak attack at night or something. They're not gonna, if they hear me coming up, they're out of here. They don't want to be around a human. It's the truth. Tonk, come here, buddy, here. Tonka, I think, wants to make sweet love to a coyote and have some pups. I look over here and Tonka's looking up at this tree. What is that? That's chaga. It's too high for me to get, I think. I need a couple feet, so I'm gonna make a little platform to stand on. Just using sticks. So I built a little platform. When I thought that I was at the top, I was not. And we've been walking almost another hour. And I sort of see light up there, so I think we're at the top in about another half a mile, something like that. Some chaga, though. It's chaga. We're making our way back down. I found some chaga. Not much. The forest is alive with birds. Springtime. Somebody on my Facebook page was, after the second chaga that I got, was saying, "Stop, you have enough. What's your problem? Seriously, what's your problem? If I take 4 chaga a year, so what?" And let's talk about what some people are saying. They're saying if you take a chaga off of a tree, that tree dies in 4 or 5 years. Oh, in 4 or 5 years? That's what you think? And if you look around, there's plenty of trees, and most of these forests, they come in and, you know, people thin them out anyway. So I don't really see the problem, and it's none of your business, because I'm not doing anything illegal, and I'm not selling it. Am I selling it? No, it's for my own consumption and for a sick friend, you dick. Mind your own business. It's a fucking mushroom growing on a freaking tree in the woods. You know, I understand if, like, commercially, if, like, they're hiring people to go into the woods to find chaga, I get that. That's not what I'm doing, dick. Am I doing that? No. For myself and for a friend that he just had chemo, he's in Brooklyn. I said, sure, I'll get you some. So I'm getting him some. I want him to have enough for a year. It's really none of your business. Seriously. You know? Hey, I'm all for saving the trees. I'm not for kicking trees, but, I mean, seriously, even if you took a chaga off indiscriminately and it died in 4 or 5 years, are you really sure that's the reason why it's dying? 4 or 5 years later? Doesn't make any sense to me. But don't take an axe to take them off. You should be use my method with a Bowie knife and a hammer. Just slice it off. That's the best way, the most humane way to do it. Now I am teaching Tonka to find these chaga, but if you want to go looking for these things, all you have to do is go in the forest and start looking for birch trees and looking for black. It'll be the blackest thing in the woods, and it'll be on a birch tree. So it's easy to find when in a deciduous forest, when the leaves are all gone. You're not gonna find it with a bunch of hemlock or pines. Well, you might if there's birch there. Mostly I'm seeing it on white birch, but I have seen it on black birch. I didn't take it; it was too small. And the other thing, the chaga that we got today was on a birch tree that was on its way out. The lower part, it was like a V. It was going down there, you know. It was still alive, like up top, you know. It was alive, but so get a life, dude. Seriously, get a life. Don't worry about me being the great chaga hunter. because clearly I am. I can smell it. I don't need Tonka. Hey, Tonk, here. We're going downhill so he can like move 500 feet in 3 seconds. So I got to keep an eye on Tonk. Now he's back up at this level. Like, just no problem. Just, it's very, very fast moving dog. He's the fastest dog I've ever known. This forest is the first forest I noticed hen of the woods. I had no idea what it was. This was years ago. So I'm definitely coming back here. It's a lot of oak, just a lot of hardwood trees. It looks like I'll find hen of the woods here this fall. Whenever that starts, I'll be on it. That tree is huge. That is a very old tree. I mean, look at the base. It goes way up. That's, 200 years old or something. I mean, it's huge. That's the size of the tree that the kid lived in that movie when I was a kid, like in the 70s, My Side of the Mountain. Like that's like 1972 or 71. He found a tree like this. It was like hollowed out, and he lived in it during the winter. That's what I would do. No, I wouldn't. I'd go home. I'd go home. I don't know why the kid was living in the woods. Go home to your parents, kid. I can't remember the story. He got lost, though, and I think he befriended some animal, maybe Bigfoot. I'm not sure. One thing that I do bring when I go into the woods is a lighter. I bring a lighter because, like, in the fall, in the early spring and the winter, if I get hurt, I don't want to be cold. So I bring a lighter because I'm not going to rub 2 sticks together. I'm not going to. I'll let Cody Lundeen do that. Let him do it. Or Dave Canterbury. He likes to do that shit. I like to use a lighter. That's just me. I like it easy, not difficult. Now, Jinian gives me shit about my shoes. This is true. Not that they're ugly. She couldn't care less. She thinks that I should be buying like expensive shoes, that's going to be better for my feet and my legs than my $20 Walmart shoes. But I need slip-ons because I can't, I have trouble tying shoes. Hey, Tonka, get off the bird. Here. Come on, dude. And so I need slip-ons. So the slip-ons that are like this that I've bought from LL Bean or who else sells those? Merrill makes them. I buy those from Cabela. They're the exact same thing. I can't see spending money just for a label, It's the exact same shoe, essentially. Pay 20 or 140. I'm paying 20. I'm not doing it. She thinks it's ridiculous, though, but she's a chick. And I bet, Jinian, you have 400 pairs of shoes, don't you? She admitted something like that to me, that she does have quite a lot of shoes. Like I do believe she has a big house, and I was talking to her like she should just turn one room into like a closet. I get the impression that she buys a lot of clothes, which is very strange because she's always wearing the same shit. She doesn't go out. She doesn't really do anything. She goes out about as much as me. Like, oh, you got to go get food. Okay, so I've got to go out, or I got to go to the bank or something. Go to the post office. That's it. She doesn't, she's not out going out on the town, but she's a chick. So you know how chicks are. You want to buy clothes, She might go out, and then she has her, fancy shoes or whatever. I don't think she's into Valentinos. Tonka just flushed a grouse. I don't really want him to flush it. You don't have your shit together, Tonka. It's the wrong season. He was acting all weird around here. I knew something was around here. See, they came in and clear cut this shit and just moved all the trees over there in a big pile. You have to do that every now and then. You have to, or else like nothing gets any light. It's ridiculous. So people can hunt this now. See, I would come here and turkey hunt this area for sure. We're definitely going to come back and grouse hunt. I'm walking. I feel better, man. I feel better. Tonka, heel. The pain is not as bad. It is not. Very short period. The exercise, I don't know if the Chaga's doing it. I don't, honestly. One thing's for sure is when I'm done, I will, like right now, go back to the car. I'm going to be in a lot of pain. After I sit down, try and get back up, it's going to be real difficult. I just did 5 miles in the woods, and my legs all locked up. It's all predictable. It is. It's predictable. So I'm standing here, trying to see if it'll unlock, and then I'll go get a cart, and it'll be easier to walk. It sucks. What are you gonna do? I'm at Walmart to get everything for my colonoscopy. Yay! I'm looking forward to it. I want to get it done. The general consensus is that the wolves in Yellowstone, although they find various things in their stool and they eat various things, that generally their diet consists of one thing. So, you know, it's not really an issue. That's sort of true of most wild dogs, that they sort of eat like one thing. They're opportunists and they'll go for something else. But like the wolves of Yellowstone will just follow the herds and then just take out, you know, whatever's weak or old. So I don't think that that's necessarily bad. No, most people use chicken as the base, but will add in other stuff. I don't think that it's that important. If you had your dog on, you know, chicken its entire life. Now, I like that other thing, like blueberries, you could, you know, sometimes give a green bean. Sometimes, you know, maybe give beef. You don't have to transition it, though. If you're on a full raw diet, you don't have to transition. You could do beef one day, chicken one day, and pork the other day. Also, you know, your biggest concern with the dog is calcium. So, you know, you want to make sure that the dog gets enough calcium. But if you want to add in a multivitamin once a week, twice a week, something like that, with your dog, you could use a human vitamin, but just probably for Luna, like a quarter of a vitamin, maybe twice a week, maybe even less. You could do the same thing that you do, like sometimes I just smash calcium pills with the flat of a knife. You could do that, like if you're giving beef or something, you could just smash the vitamin on a cutting board too, you know, like a quarter of a vitamin, and then dust the meat with that. But as I remember, she'll eat green beans and peas. Fruit, you know, isn't really anything that a dog would eat. You could give blueberries, but they, you know, they don't really need calcium or vitamin C because they produce their own. So it's sort of like you can use blueberries, but don't think that, like, because you're giving blueberries, your dog's going to be super healthy. And if you are doing that, if you're going to do calcium, just remember, like the D3 that they have in calcium, that's too much for your dog. That is the calcium, or the D3 that is needed for a human. So get calcium without D3 if you do that. It's really simple. It's not a problem. She likes pork, as I remember. She likes beef. Just that Stella and Chewy's, it's commercial pet food, and that is the most commercial pet food that you could get as far as raw diet goes. That's not raw diet, that's pet food. You might even check locally if somebody's producing a raw diet that has a low fiber profile. That's what you want. So sometimes, like, those companies will say, here we have one that's just ground chicken. You know, it doesn't have anything else in it. And then they have the one that they say is complete, and that has all the filler in it. And when I bought that prepared raw diet for Luna, I bought it because I didn't know if you would even deal with raw chicken. So I didn't really even, they didn't have Stella and Chewy, so I was going to bring you something that was raw, that was for sure. So Abbott's great. I mean, if there's some store that's selling Abbott down there, that's good. You know, Abity is about the only pet food company that I would even recommend. That Abity, they make a granular food that you could, if you wanted to make sure that Luna was getting vitamins, you could just add in a little bit of granular with the chicken every now and then. That way she's getting vitamins. That granular, it's all low fiber profile with Abity. So, it's something to consider. Abity, the granular stuff, they will send you. I don't know if they'll send you frozen raw. They might. You would have to check. They might have somebody selling it down in DC. You know, as far as like plant material goes, a lot of people use canned spinach. That seems to be a real popular one. You know, there's no sugar in it. It's more like a, you know, it's not starchy, so you don't have that issue. Because starches can cause problems with dogs too. That's another problem with pet food. They're putting potatoes in there and stuff. So a lot of people use that. I like to use green beans a lot. Like I don't know, like a teaspoon of peas. Something like that. I'm in Walmart. I have to pick up some stuff I'm getting a colonoscopy on Tuesday, so I can't eat anything tomorrow. It's gonna be like from, I think, 6 o'clock tomorrow morning until like the following day. I get it done at like 2. So I think I can have Jello and broth. That's it. It's a long time to not eat. But I'm also looking at coffee grinders to grind up chaga. I don't even know if I need to grind it though. It's like in big chunks. You just put it in a pan and, you know, what's the sense of grinding it? I don't get that. I mean, it's relatively cheap. It's like $13.88. It's pretty cheap for a Krups. The Hamilton Beach is $26. 14 cup capacity though. That's pretty big. KitchenAid is 20. I don't know. I'm gonna hold off on this. I don't need to be buying anything that I don't really need. I want to look at a vacuum sealer though. I'll tell you what, I like the Chaga. I do. You know, the thing of it is if you have a ground, you can use something like this, right? The coffee filter, and just put spoonfuls in and let it steep for 10 minutes. You can reuse the Chaga. It's weird. Like, I'll hold off. I don't know. I'm gonna go look at vacuum sealers and then get me some Jello. Yum. It's going against my diet too. It's got sugar in it, but I'd rather have the sugar Jello than the sugar-free, because I think the sugar-free probably is not real good for you. No, I wonder if I could, you know. No. I was thinking put it in my blender. My blender will get... That Chaga's really tough. I don't think that would work. I don't have a Vitamix or anything like that. I saw somebody putting it in a Vitamix. They were like, yeah, it's no problem with the Vitamix. Yeah, but the Vitamix is expensive. You know, this Ninja, the Ninja's $150. I'm not going to buy that, but I bet that thing would chop up Chaga for sure. It says it's a flour mill. But the thing that I don't like about this Ninja, you know, look at it. The thing that I don't like about the Ninja, this is plastic, man. Plastic sucks. You need a glass one, you know. I mean, it's $150. It should be, you know. I do make smoothies now, which is sort of, my whole diet's different. It's different. It's a lot different. But I can't say, I don't know how much a Vitamix is, but I'm not a person that would have a, see, there's my blender. It's $26 with a glass jar. I can't see spending hundreds of dollars on a blender, you know. If I was rich, maybe, which I'm clearly not. I'm not. I know a lot of people think that I'm wealthy with all this YouTube money, all the money I'm raking in from YouTube. I'm not raking in all the money from YouTube. That's a misconception. Yeah, my blender with the glass jar. This is the one I believe I have, like right here. I like it. It's good. I mean, why would you get plastic? It doesn't clean well. It's like sort of do that different too. In other words, like if I cook something or whatever, I rinse it out at least. You know, I rinse it out real quick so I don't have to have a big hassle. Fucking ice cream makers are like 20 bucks. $20. But I can't eat ice cream, so it sucks. I considered like totally going off of my diet because of, you know, just because of the colonoscopy and then go back on it. But I'm not. I'm sticking with it. I'll just starve tomorrow. I've decided I won't walk tomorrow because I don't think I'll have the energy. You know, it takes energy to walk a mile, 2 miles, 4 miles. I don't know. I just want this over with and hope that I don't have a polyp. No big deal. That is not a big deal. They remove it during the thing. That is not a big deal. You got cancer. Big deal. Big deal. I'm looking for a vacuum sealer. I don't see it. I know that they have them here, I would think. I have a feeling it's going to cost too much. I'm not going to want to get it. I'm cheap, you know. I can't. I think if I was rich, I'd even be sort of cheap. Not as cheap as I am, that's for sure. But I guess it would be in here. I don't see it. It's probably too expensive. I don't even know why I'm looking at it. Be nice. Maybe that's around the mason jars, actually. I bet that that's where it would be. Around the canning stuff, because I think you can use it with mason jars, too. Yeah, I don't see it here. Check this out. You can do your own zucchini noodles with one of these. It's 10 bucks. That's a pretty good item. I like that. I'll tell you what I would like is a hand crank coffee grinder. That would be good for Chaga. I just can't see buying a little electric appliance to grind Chaga where you don't really have to grind it. You could throw it in a crock pot, slow cook it, and make tea that way. I just put it on the stove in a pan, bring it up to a boil, let it sit. You know, you can keep reusing the Chaga too. It's real strange. It's not like coffee grounds. Well, they get weaker, but not as quick. Chaga doesn't, you know, Chaga you can take out, you can even let it dry and then reuse it that way. The taste, I like it. Grows on you real quick. It's addictive. I have a friend, milk paint and wood boy. She's always trying to get me to take this like convection oven she has. My electrical isn't done. I don't want a convection oven. I'm starting that right now. I'm gonna start I'll probably start drilling the holes for like the wire that needs to be strung. I gotta get it done. The vacuum sealers, like the cheapest one I'm seeing is $60. There's a handheld rechargeable vacuum system. What the fuck? This is more reasonable. That's 25 bucks. Handheld rechargeable vacuum system. I don't think I need this. It's $25 that I can spend on something else. Pretty cool though. You know, mason jars. Like I like the idea of canning. I don't think that I need to worry about this too much right now. My pawpaws. If I get a lot of pawpaws, I'll come here and get something like this. So I'm gonna have to do something with the pawpaws. You can freeze them whole too, so that's an option. It sort of bums me out that they don't have a vacuum sealer for 15 bucks. If they did, I'd be taking it home. But I don't see it. Oh, one thing I did want to check out is a food dehydrator. And I don't want to spend a lot of money on that thing either. I would think that they would have it here. I think it would be by Caine, wouldn't it? I didn't see anything like that. Like, if they have a food dehydrator for $25, I'm in on it. But if it's more than that, like, you gotta be kidding me. I use a box fan. Don't tell me it won't work, because I've tried a lot of things just by using a box fan, so I can't see that that would be a problem. I don't see it. Kicking around the idea of going turkey hunting, but I don't really like to turkey hunt because I can't take a dog and I'm afraid of Sasquatch. I don't want to get bent over a tree stump, and they'll do that. I don't want to go alone. Come on, man. In the woods alone? No fucking way. Thinking about it though, I might do it. I do have a gun with me. I would take one of the guns that have actually killed a Bigfoot. I own 2 of them. I own 2 Brownings that were involved in that. They're beautiful guns. No, they're not for sale. Maybe somebody came along with the right price, and it wouldn't be the price of a Browning A5. It would have to be a lot more than that. And a Browning A5 is going to cost you a lot of money anyway, so. I don't see a food dehydrator. What do I gotta check this out online? I figured, like, what the fuck? They would have this. Finding out here that this is the dope smoking section too, because they have. I didn't even know that they made these anymore. Wooden matches. Wow. I figured, not anymore. And here they have, like, as I said, the dope smoking section. They have a little tiny scale. That could be for something else too. I would think. I don't know. Since I started looking for mushrooms, there's a lot of comments about psilocybin mushrooms, magic mushrooms, like inferring that me, I don't do that stuff. I don't. I'm totally straight edge. Always have been, except back in the day when I wasn't. And then, yeah, maybe I did. I might have tried them a couple times, I think. If I did, see, I don't really remember trying them because I was drinking a whole lot, so I might have, but I probably didn't. And if anybody offers you something like that, just say no. No, it's not good. It's not good for you. Although for some reason they're using mushrooms and what's that other thing that the ayahuasca to prepare people for death now, which seems weird because if you were dying, I would think that if you would take mushrooms or ayahuasca or something, you would have a bad trip. But it actually makes people more relaxed about death. I don't know, I guess, that sucks. I know it fucking flips me out. I don't want to die. Are you kidding me? I'm constantly thinking about my mortality. Just constantly. It's like that's been my whole life. Just thinking about fucking life and death. I just, to be, ignorant. To be ignorant might not be such a bad thing. That sort of sounded a little bit like Michael Jackson saying, how's he say it? That's just ignorant. They're ignorant. I didn't do anything. No, that's a Southern Michael Jackson saying, ignorant. I didn't do anything with Applehead. That's ignorant. That's ignorant. Something like that. He's got a weird voice. He's not Southern, is he? Maybe he is. Maybe he is from the South. Actually, the Jackson 5? Could be. Michael Jackson was, like, when I was a kid, like Michael Jackson, we all thought, oh yeah, he's cool. Like little Michael Jackson was like maybe a year or two older than me, I think. Like maybe a few years older than me. So watching him on stage, man, everybody, and then he became so uncool. But like he still had all these like people. when he was uncool, when they were saying shit about him, you know, he still had all these people following him. Like they didn't care because he's like famous. It's like, that's ignorant. I mean, I don't want to say anything bad about somebody that died, but there sure is. They were talking about him when he was alive doing that stuff, and now they're talking about him when he's dead doing that stuff, and that's ignorant, Michael. He's, no, it's not ignorant, that's sick, you know? Poor Applehead and Doo-Doo Head. I'm sure if Michael Jackson would have saw me, I know I was probably not young enough, but he would have been like, oh yeah, you wanna come over and have a slumber party? He would have been all over me, even though I'm only 2 years younger or something, if that. He would have wanted me, don't you think? I went to Camp Holy Cross as a kid. This is true, and I'm not Catholic. Our friends, the Lucases, are Catholic. That's how I ended up going to Holy Cross, because we were out at Grandpa Pigeon's buying stuff for the Lucas kids to go to camp, and I was like, fuck, man, they get to buy like a cowboy hat and all that, you know, all this stuff. Like, I want to go. So they made a call, and they said, yeah, he can come. So I went to Camp Holy Cross, which was a good camp for me because it was a running camp. And that's one of the first things that I was doing as far as athletics went, was running long distance, which I wasn't the best long distance. I was better at wrestling. You know, my legs are too short. I'm you know, the longer the race, the better I would be, but still my legs are short, so it's sort of a disadvantage. So we would run the mountains and stuff. It was tough. It was so tough. I remember I had one roommate. My roommate was this Mexican kid from a famous running family in Mexico. They would send their kids there. There were two of the kids there. Both of them went to the Olympics. This kid is like my age. He might have gotten a gold in the Olympics, but I mean, the whole family was, you know, they were runners. And this kid was like, at the age of like 7, was like outrunning the adults. You know, like the adults couldn't keep up with the kid. Running long distance races, like as kids, we would run 5-6 miles. I'm talking about, like, you know, I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade, something like that, running a 5-mile race. But this kid was like, well, he went on to the Olympics and, you know, won. He didn't just go to the Olympics, he won. He won like a gold, and I believe his brother won maybe a silver too. So real nice guy, real nice guy. He brought stuff with him from Mexico that was interesting. That he brought like this, like, sort of like beef jerky type thing that was like, sort of tasted like tamarind. And I guess he told me after the bullfights or something, they would take the bull and then they would turn it into, you know, this like weird kind of jerky product with tamarind. It was like sweet and sour, like almost like candy. Very, very nice kid, very nice. His brother was real nice too. Very friendly. His parents showed up. His parents were like, you know, immaculately dressed and very fashionable. I believe his dad was a long distance, like a family of long distance runners from this area in Mexico, like national heroes and shit. But I remember his mom was like kind of dressed to the nines, but that's how it was back then. It was like my mom, and you know, we went to hockey games. This is true. We had box seats for the Blues. And my mother and my dad, they would be dressed up, and all the kids, like us, the Lucas kids, would all be wearing coat and ties to go to a hockey game. So we'd be walking around the arena in a coat and tie, where everybody else looked like, you know, they were at a hockey game. I saw that kid, that Mexican kid, not too long ago, being interviewed about, you know, marathons and shit, and He's still running. I think that he's in charge of, like, maybe at that time when he was interviewed, I think he might have been in charge of, like, the whole Mexican team or something. And they might have a kid that's running too now. I think that there's younger people from that family that are running and winning races too. It's genetics. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they come from an area in Mexico with a real high elevation, which helps. That's why they sent the kids to that camp, because they were going to run them in the mountains. I'm going to go look in the hunting section and see if they have a food dehydrator there. I'll tell you what, the chaga might be helping. It might be helping with inflammation, but I'll tell you what's helped out immensely is just actually putting up with the pain and start walking again. After I'm done, so much pain. Once I sit down, I lock up. But doing it, I can do 5-6 miles. I'll definitely be able to grouse hunt. I will. It's just how it has to be. I honestly, I don't know how somebody would... I understand how somebody that's retired would get a hip replacement. I get that because they don't have to work. But I mean, if I got a hip replacement, how would I work? I couldn't. I couldn't do it. I mean, I could make art, I suppose. Putter around in my studio, but that's not like making money. I have to be able to train a dog. I have to be able to, I can't do that if I got a hip replacement. I've been thinking about air guns too lately. I used to shoot match. There's nothing in Walmart that I would be interested in buying. I mean, that's not what when I shoot match. I like Fenwick Brow. Some of the Italian air guns are awesome, but you're looking at $2,000. I might get back into it. I've always said that, I started saying this when I was about 40, my days of, dreaming about being in the Olympics are over. Collegiate freestyle or Greco, it's over. And I was for a while. I was thinking, I'm okay. I'd have to practice a lot more to shoot match, but I'm better than, you pick out 1,000 people coming in Walmart. I'm gonna be better than everybody. I'm not bragging, it's just the truth. Just living with my dad, He had me shooting a handgun by the time I was 5. That story I tell is absolutely true. It's a 44 mag. He puts in his kid's hand, I couldn't really hold it up without his help. That's the truth. He had to help me hold it up. It was really heavy. I couldn't pull the hammer back. He had to do that too. But I mean, that influences a kid at an early age. So, and also if you are interested in shooting, you study about shooting, you can get better at it. And with practice, it's a lot of practice. You have to control your breathing. At that point where I was really trying to, this was probably 15 years ago, I was I'm pretty good, but I'm not national level. I'm just I'm pretty good. You have to start thinking about your heartbeat and shit like that. You're really, it's a lot. It's a lot, and it's definitely a sport. I don't see a food dehydrator. Yes, they do not have food dehydrators. You have to buy them online. I'll just use a box fan. It works. You can't, you could probably do it in the cold, actually. Probably would work. You'd be surprised what a box fan, just having air on something constantly. It's pretty effective. It's Rachel Ray pet food. This is some of the worst shit. It's terrible. Look, they're putting carrots in this. Carrots, you're giving your dog carrots, raw carrots? That's terrible. Your dog can't even digest them. If you're gonna give a carrot, it would have to be cooked. It is cooked in this, but the carrot in here is in there because it's filler. That's all it is. Your dog shouldn't be eating anything starchy, high in carbs, sugars, fruit. Your dog shouldn't be eating fruit. Very, very, very little, you know. Let's see what the main ingredient is. If she was gonna do that, like put out a product for dogs, she could have done a frozen raw diet that was like really low, had a real low fiber profile and really had something, but no, she has to go for making money. And that's exactly what she did. So when you know, the whole word nutrish, come on, EBOO. She needs to go on a diet, seriously. But we all do, so that's not why I don't like her. I just find her annoying. Jinian likes her. Jinian doesn't like it when I talk shit about Rachel Ray. Seriously, it's true. She likes her. I think she watches her show and shit. I don't hate her or anything. I just, you know, I think her pet food's garbage. It is. It's total garbage. And she's starting to have the body of a blueberry. It's how she's built, you know? I need Jell-O and broth. Some delicious broth. I wonder if they have consomme. Maybe I could have a consomme. That's pretty much broth. Nutrish. I'll get, I can have, I'm just thinking beef broth is tastier than like chicken broth to me. So I'll get a thing of just flat out, just plain old beef broth. I wonder how big this thing is that they're gonna probe me with. I have this like thing in my head that it's real big, you know. Relax. Here comes the choo-choo train. God, I don't get it. I don't get the whole anal sex thing for sure. Like, women or gay dudes that are into that, you know, it's just like, ouch. Seriously, ouch. You know, I don't really have too much of a desire to do that. Come on, baby, you know? No. Maybe there was a time when I did, you know, like when I was younger, just so I could brag about it. Yeah, and I got her in the, you know, begging for it, of course. I aim to please. It's springtime, so there's, it is rutting season, you know, it is. It's rutting season. And there's a lot of hotties out, I've noticed. I mean, I haven't really looked. I just sort of like kind of glance, don't stare anymore. I don't ogle. I just sort of look like, oh, she's hot. Don't stare. Because we're not supposed to do that anymore. Definitely don't walk up to a woman and touch her sleeve and say, oh, this is a fine garment. What is this material? Don't do that. That's a Joe Biden trick. That's the shit he pulls. Don't be touching the women. They're not into it unless they're into it, and then you can go ahead and do it. You know, make sure that they're into it. Don't be fooled by some broad that's like setting you up, like knows that you're hot for her, and then they get to go around and say, oh yeah, he tried to like make out with me, and I was totally not interested. I've seen several hotties. You know, this is a hottie hotspot. Sort of like it's a Bigfoot hotspot, Sasquatch hotspot. You know, don't think New York City. That's where the hot women are. It's like up here in the Finger Lakes region. The only problem is most of the hotties are wearing a Trump supporter T-shirt. You know, a hat like a mega hat or whatever it is, MAGA hat. You know, that sort of makes it like unhot to me, like I can think of somebody in particular that's actually physically attractive, but she's a Trump supporter, so it's like I would never even like, it could never even be considered, never, like just shut up with your nonsense, girl. I haven't dropped my clothes off in years. Like when I say I'm dropping off my clothes, I'm meaning that putting them in the washer, coming back. I don't fold my clothes. When I was in the military, if we, you know, you put your stuff in the ship's laundry or something that comes back folded, or if you're on base, you could take it and they would fold it. In Brooklyn, you could take it places, and for like a very small amount, they'll, like $5, what it costs $5 extra, they'll put them in the washer and fold them for you. It's like, you know, Salvadorian women, people, it's like women from El Salvador or, you know, Central America, and, you know, so it's real cheap. But I was working at an animal shelter, and I actually had somebody tell me that my clothes were too dirty, that they didn't want to deal with them. And I'm like, what? This is like it's a laundromat. You don't want my business. You don't want my business because my clothes are too dirty. That's what they told me. It's working at an animal shelter, you can imagine, right? But I mean, it's money. It's, you know, come on. What that? Yeah, it was pretty nasty. I would wear like I was the kennel manager, and I would wear like a jumpsuit type thing, and I'd be going home and I'd still be wearing that or something. I remember people like looking at me and like backing away, like, oh, this guy smells like dog poo. You know, what are you gonna do? It's working with dogs. They jump on you with poo on their paws, you know. Years ago, I liked that job, but there was no money in it. I got sober. I got sober. Well, right after that, right after I was the kennel attendant, I got sober. So it was like the last job I had as a drunk, but I liked the job. But it didn't pay anything. It didn't pay shit. And then after I got sober, I started the pet service, and then I was like rolling in dough. It's very lucrative. It's very lucrative to have a pet service. It's more lucrative than being a dog trainer. But it's not as rewarding, that's for sure. It isn't. It's not even close. And there's the stress. You have like employees, and it's just like somebody doesn't show up. They don't tell you that they're not going to show up, so you know you're getting a call, and then all of a sudden, or somebody calls in and says, "Hey, I can't show up," and then like you have to go and get it done. So it's sort of a drag. When my clothes are drying, I'm going to go in the house of Hong, get a large hot and sour soup, and I'll eat that there. And then I'll get sashimi to go, and that's what I'll eat tonight. Sashimi's good because no rice, it's just fish. So that's right in line with my diet, and I haven't eaten any food that anybody else has made in a long time. I've been making it myself. So I'm kind of, I'm splurging. I am. I have to get back. I have a Skype session with sounds like a client that's coming in June from Alabama. Sounds like it. God, what did she say it was? Australian cattle dog and poodle? It's right up my alley. This is one of the best restaurants in Watkins Glen, I think. I think it's pretty good. The Chinese food's real good, and they have sushi here, which is awesome. And their hot and sour soup is both hot and sour. That's how I like it. I'm telling you, Brooklyn, there's all these Chinese restaurants. They're all horrible. It's just horrible. You know, most of them are just like fried rice places. The hot and sour soup is like, it's like eating dirt, like watered down dirt. One last thing. Some behavioral problems with your dog, it just becomes habit, and it's repetitive, so they keep doing it. So for whatever reason, your dog might have started licking her feet. So now that it's important, like, she might have an issue. It could be a fungal infection. That's true. It could be allergy related. That's true. It could be both. And that's how I see it. A lot of times it's always like sort of like both. Like it'll be allergies and a fungal infection. Like, like maybe she's itching on her feet or something, just starts licking it, then it's moist, and that's creating, a environment for fungus to live. So if you can, it's important to catch the dog doing it. Tell her to quit. If you have the e-collar on her and you can catch her, buzz her with the vibrate button and say no. You see the point? Because things that are repetitious, that ends up being a behavioral issue. So you don't want that. So if you can catch her doing it with the e-collar on, say no, right? Right when she starts licking it, hit the vibrate button. This area is so much different now than when I bought this place. I bought this place originally to store art. That was the purpose, and then I left it sort of vacant. I left it vacant. I think one year I came up here like once. But I mean, it was like when I first bought it. Like I come up here and like I go in Walmart, and I never saw anybody of any color. It was always just white people. It was the land of white people. Like I would have the darkest skin. My skin isn't dark. And now it's like I'll go in Walmart, I'll see like I'll see brown skinned people in there, whether they're African American or they're I went to a doctor about a year and a half ago. He's like a Pakistani or Indian dude. I think it was like a year and a half ago. So, like I see people like that, like Indian people. I see the people that own that restaurant House of Hong, they're Chinese. They were watching a show, and I said, "What is that Chinese or Korean?" And they said it's Chinese. So they're Chinese. They might have been here. That place has been there a while. But I mean, like black people, like African American people. There was like down the road from me, there was a black person, like this black kid and his grandma living in this house. Like they don't live there anymore. But it was like going out, seeing the black kid walking down the street was great. It was it was like I'm just sort of used to seeing everybody, everything, like in Brooklyn, and that's the greatest thing about Brooklyn is like there's like you name it. In one block, you could have, a Polish person, a Russian person, and, people from Africa, people from Jamaica, people from South America, Central America, art students, you name it. And that's one of the greatest things that I like about New York City and Brooklyn is the diversity. It's amazing that I'm sure that there's people that are seeing this that are saying like, well, I don't really know anybody that's Islamic and stuff like that. I think that that's an issue with our society, that like there is this prejudice because people don't interact with somebody that's Muslim. So all they hear is like the stupid stuff. And let's be real here. When we're talking about stupid stuff, in our country, the majority of that stuff is caused by that's homegrown terrorism by white people. So I think that they have this idea about like people that are Muslim that are, because of 9/11 and all that, the ISIS and all that bullshit. But man, I'm telling you, they're just like me and you. I have a friend, I haven't seen her in a while because she works across the street at Key Food. She's from Bangladesh. Well, she was born here, but her parents are from Bangladesh, and she's Muslim, and girl's great, just a normal person. Other than she doesn't do Christmas, she does like Ramadan and shit like that. People are people, and if our country was more diverse, I think that there would be less problems, because I think that when you interact with somebody that you might be like different than you, like ethnically or as far as culture goes or anything, and they might seem off to you or something, you just talk to them, you find out we're all the same. You know, the amount of DNA that it takes to make curly hair straight or straight hair curly or dark skin light, it's nothing. It's nothing. We're all human. So all this bullshit about like, I'm not a fan of religion. I think religion's stupid, you know. But it's your right to waste your time however you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just because somebody has some views about spirituality that are different than mine, and I'm not saying that I'm not spiritual, doesn't mean that they're wrong. And you know, the only people that I really find that I don't like are somebody that's like hardcore prejudice against somebody for just what I'm talking about. Like, it's clear when you hear about my political views that I feel this way. And I think that, like, you know, clearly 30% of the population, somewhere around there, I'd say, you know, something like that, 30% of the population, they have these like racist views and shit. And I think that if they got to know people that they find that they don't like for these superficial reasons, they might end up liking them. I mean, Ramadan and Christmas, you know, whatever, Hanukkah, it's all just this bullshit that humans make up to make themselves feel better about dying. That's how I see religion. And I see them all sort of the same, and that they all seem flawed to me. That's how it seems to me, that it all seems flawed, and it seems like that, like everybody's fear of death, you know, and it's been around since man was walking and thinking like we are. Like, you know, maybe Neanderthal had the same shit too, that they, you know, we know that we die, so that, you know, thinking about an afterlife is, you know, is more comforting. I don't think that they don't talk about, like in the Jewish religion, they don't really talk about that, do they? That, right? And I don't think that they talk about heaven, so I don't know if that really plays a part into being a Jew. It might not. And I'll tell you something, this is the truth about Jews, man. I grew up around Jews. You know, I'm from Clayton, Missouri. Yeah, so I don't know what the percentage of, you know, kids were Jewish in my school, but it was really high. And talk about a group of people that are not only some of the funniest fuckers I've ever known, but brilliant. Like, I know that sounds racist, me saying that, but it's the truth. Like, there's this thing in some of our cultures that, you know, there's this like strive to like the parent, like, you know, really pushes the children to succeed however they do it. Like, they, you know, I can think of that some Asian cultures are like that too. Like, I have a friend who's Taiwanese, and he's giving his kid shit for bringing home like a 3.9, you know, that was her grade point average. And I said, dude, like, she's got a 3.9. Why are you giving her shit? And he goes, because she gets a 3.9 without trying. And I said, yeah, it's awesome. Your kid's brilliant. And he goes, yes, but if she tried, she'd have a 4.0. So you see that in some cultures. I know this sounds biased, me saying it. It sounds like I'm, you know, like positively prejudiced or something. But it's just a fact that, and I think you see that in a lot of Jews too. There's this like really this push to like do well in academics. I mean, if you look at like Nobel Prize winners, like the majority of them are Jews, and out of all the groups in the world, all the ethnic groups and everything, the largest group of Nobel Prize winners are Jewish. It says something right there. Now you could also say, well, that's because the aliens came down and they were the chosen people and they got the alien DNA in them. Maybe. You never know. It's possible. Somebody was saying the other day that they think that the reason why we have fungus on this planet is that it's came in on an asteroid, but shit like that burns up, like, coming through the atmosphere. So, the whole thing about like the, well, I guess in a cosmic sense, we are just, like Carl Sagan says, we're all stardust. That's how the planet was seeded. That's how the planet was made. Everything here is just, I think what I'm trying to say about this in people, and I really feel this way, that there's assholes in the world, but generally speaking, I think that all humans, the majority of humans, are good. And we're all related. We're all related by common ancestry. Everything on this planet you're related to. So there's no reason for me to hate bats, and I really don't hate bats. I just don't want them in my house. But we're all related by common ancestry. So to think of a race of people, a group of people, a culture, and dislike them because they're different than you, it just doesn't compute. It doesn't make any sense. We're all the same. Like when I think about the assholes in was it Charleston? Jews will not replace us. I don't think that Jews want to replace you. That's when they were saying that, I almost burst out laughing. I'm going, so you think that the Jews want to replace the rednecks that don't like people because of their religion or their race? It's bizarre. It's like, I'm sorry, I just don't get it. I've disliked people in my life, but I don't really think I ever disliked anybody because of their religion or their race or the way that they look or their sexual preference. I don't give a shit. I really don't. That's another thing I really never understood, is like people that were like, don't like the gay people. Another group of people that are fucking funny. A lot of gay dudes that are, and chicks that are fucking funny. Most of the time when I come across, this sounds prejudiced, but most of the time when I come across the gay person that's funny, it is a dude. But I've known, I know this one woman, she's gay, she's a comedian. See, now this will sound really prejudiced, because I'm gonna say most chicks aren't as funny as dudes. That's wrong, Peter. That's wrong. It is wrong. There's a lot of women that are very funny. That's a tough business to go into. I have a friend who's a comedian in New York, and you have to practice. You have to go out and practice your craft on a weekly basis to be good at it. But people are people, and we're all the same. And in the immortal words of Rodney King, can't we all just get along? I think that we can. But it's really difficult to get along with the person that hates people because of the way that they look, or their religion, or their sexual preference, or their sexual identity. It's hard for me to like these people. So I do have a problem with, I'm not going to even say it. I'm not going to even say it because I know some, shit, I'll say it, but I do know some people that are Trump supporters that aren't necessarily bad. I just don't understand why they're supporting such a negative president. His work is too good for a bike shop. It's high art, and he needs to show in a gallery, and he shouldn't be showing in a gallery in Sedalia or Kansas City. He needs to show in New York City. I'm not gonna say it's gonna hurt him by showing in a bike shop, but his work is better than that. It's a lot better than that. That's what I'm saying. He can't even put that on a resume. It would look ridiculous. Nobody will take you seriously if you're showing in a bike shop or a coffee shop. And he was doing this before the accident, and now he's doing it again? I'd give him shit. I'd be like, well, why don't you have a show in New York? And he would say, it's not ready. Okay? It is ready. It is ready. And all I need is some real nice shots of his work. And I'm telling you, Ava's going to want to take it. I'm pretty sure I already have this woman locked in. If she looks at his work, she's going to want to show his work because it's sellable. He could be showing his work in Miami during the art fair. He doesn't need to be shown in a bike shop. His work is way too good for that. Dude, your sister said that you're going to show your work in a bike shop. I'm not saying that it's going to hurt you, but it's nothing that you could even put on a resume. And you've been doing this the whole time, Alan. You've been like, I'd ask you, when are you going to show your work in New York? And you know what you say? You say, well, it's not ready. It is fucking ready, dude. It is. I need just some pictures. Take some pictures with your phone of the work so I can show Ava. And if you have 3 of them complete, that would give her a good idea, okay? So just send me whatever you have. And then as you make them, just send them to me and I'll get them to Ava. I'm telling you, you'll have a show. I don't even think it'll be with me, to be perfectly honest. I think that she'll just want to handle your work. And then when Christmas rolls around, she'll take that shit down to Miami and try and sell it down there during the art fair. Get some shots, Alan. Seriously. Do the bike shop if you want, but you know it and I know it. You can't put that on a resume. It's a beautiful day to prepare for my colonoscopy. I took the 4 pills. That was a while ago, and I feel fine. Now, everybody talks about when you have to drink the Gatorade mixture, but I have a lot of it down. Tastes like shit. Keyword shit. Oh, man. All right, I'm gonna go watch the news, and I guess at some point I'll start singing the diarrhea song. Right? You know the diarrhea song, right?
Diarrhea, 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 hee 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 ha, diarrhea. Poop, poop. Everybody loves it, poop. Go USA. Diarrhea, 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 hee 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 ha.
Oh my God, that tastes like shit. It's horrible. I just want this over, and I want them to tell me that I don't have cancer. That's it. That's all I want. I get this fucking bullshit from Corning Hospital. A call on my motherfucking phone saying that the doctor has an emergency operation and they need to change my scheduling. They want me to come in at 2:30 now. 2:30. And I said, oh, so I'm going to get it done at 2:30? And she says, no, that's just when we need you here. The operation that she's doing takes 3 or 4 hours. We don't know when she'll get to you. Are you motherfucking kidding me? Are you they're fucking joking. I haven't eaten in fucking 30 hours. I've had like 0 sleep. fucking assholes, man. I just feel like saying fuck it and starting up my barbecue pit and eating something. It's outrageous. Doctors make hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm a fucking broke artist dog trainer. I got fucking nothing. And I can't even, fuck this. I'm so sick. I just feel like calling and canceling. So I just talked to them. So I go in at 2:30. I said my friend has something to do at 6. Are we going to be done? And they're like, well, you know, you have, after you get the procedure done, you have to, you have 30 minutes that you need to recoup, and then we need to be able to call your friend. I'm like, oh, okay. So what's that mean? So I guess even if I get, hey, Brian, if I get the procedure done, and what I know I can't, whatever, they could keep me there. I don't really care. I just want the fucking goddamn colonoscopy done. If it's getting close to the time where you got to meet your friend or what, just go. Just get me the procedure. You know what I'm saying? So I'll sit there. And I'll find something else. But I mean, if I could just get the procedure done, you know? It's outrageous. There's been times, like the last few days, I wanted to call them and complain. I finally did. I sent a letter to my doctor, my primary care doctor, and the doctor that's doing this. First, they told me, this is the truth. First, they told me I could take a cab. Then they told me I couldn't take a cab. Then they told me I could take a cab. And then they were very clear and said, no, you cannot take a cab. Okay, why didn't you just say that the first time, idiots? I'm starving right now. I'm so fucking pissed. I'm so fucking pissed. There's been a bunch of shit that just doesn't make sense dealing with these people. It's outrageous. They don't have backup. Caine Hospital doesn't have backup. They don't make enough money to have backup. You know this doctor makes at least $150, at least. How many millions does the hospital make? They're making money off of insurance companies. It's outrageous. They don't care. They don't care, and that's a fact. They don't give a shit. I'm back from my fucking colonoscopy. That sucked. It sucked, man. I haven't eaten in like 36 hours. I was a real asshole, believe it or not. Can you believe it? I was a real asshole at the hospital. I was about to walk out, but I didn't. I ended up staying. It was fucking horrible. And I have no polyps, no cancer, and I don't have to have another colonoscopy for 10 years. 10 years. That is a fucking relief. I was just thinking about the colonoscopy, and I was thinking of how much it sucked. And the thing that really sucked about it was that, you know, I didn't eat for 36 hours. I was irate. I was just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. There wasn't a doctor to take over. Like, they didn't have enough doctors? Come on. That's absurd. You have people that are doing the colonoscopy that are starving. I was fucking starving with induced diarrhea. That's what they do to you. So it's fine, but you don't want to take the person that's starving and push them any later than necessary. Like my point is this: the hospital doesn't have $2,000 a day to have an extra doctor on staff. It's a hospital. It's a hospital. I just I understand it's a money-making, it's a company. But my God, how cheap are you? Like, you can't find the hospital they all make money. I mean, most of them do, unless it's like a city hospital. But you can't find $2,000 a day to just have, one extra doctor on call. You should have a handful of them. Like you have to, like the hospital spends, say, $10,000 a day extra to have some doctors available, in case there are emergencies. No, that's not what this hospital does. I'm getting an oil change and inspection. So I'm walking up to the hardware store, because I didn't walk yesterday because I was, the colonoscopy. The day before, I wasn't eating, so I couldn't do it. So I'm back walking again, so I'm going to walk up here. I need the oil change because I'm going to pick up my new client down in the city. He's flying in. He's flying in from Alabama. No, he's not a Trump supporter. Not even close. His name's Bear. I know this dog does not like Trump. I'm 100% sure. You know what I'm saying? Thinks he's an idiot. So my car doesn't pass inspection because the computer can't read it properly because I have to unhook the battery because I have an electrical drain. So it's like we have to get you to clear the monitor. You're gonna have to like not unhook the battery. So if I don't unhook the battery, my only choice is to go out like every 4 hours and take it for a ride. And that's what the guy said. He said you're gonna have to, and not just start it up, I have to go take it out for a ride. Like I'm gonna have to ride it, take it for a ride for 20 minutes, he said, The fuck, man. Nothing in my life seems to be easy. This car, I got this car like this, and the electrical drain just got worse because the door won't close. And there was already an electrical drain somewhere that, it was looked for and nobody can find it. So now, I don't know, I guess I'm gonna, like every 3 or 4 hours, I have to, until Saturday, I'm gonna have to take the car out and drive it for 20 minutes. Or else, like, my battery will die and the monitor won't clear and my car won't pass inspection. It's a fucking, just another nightmare. It's just another nightmare in my life. It's nothing. I mean, it's just what I have to do, It's not gonna be pleasant. It'd be better if it wasn't cold, because the colder it is, the more often I'm gonna have to go out and take the car for a ride. If it was, 80 degrees out, I could probably get away with not doing it for, I don't know, 7 hours or something. This is, fuck it, This is my car. This is what I have, so it needs to pass. And I need tie rods put on. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the car up every 3 to 4 hours until Saturday, and then Saturday I'll take it in and start it up and drive it. He said you cannot just start it up. You have to drive it for 20 minutes. So I'm gonna take it out, start it up, drive it, and then Saturday they put some tie rods on, and that's what I'm gonna do. So until Saturday, I guess I'm gonna be driving around in the car for like no reason at all, other than I can't let my battery die, and I don't know. God damn it! I'm gonna put a charger on it. Trying to think. I don't know.